Love City Arts Podcast. I'm Andre in the Flow. I wanted to create a space where artists could come together and encourage all of humanity through the arts. So welcome to that space. For more information, to follow my journey and the journey of all of our artists, visit andreintheflow.com and lovecityarts.org. Please enjoy today's episode, and thanks for listening.
Dwan was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and grew up listening to all different kinds of music ranging from big band, classic rock, funk, R&B, and soul. She started her passion for the performing arts at the young age of 6 with the Academy of Dance Arts and the study of ballet, jazz, and tap. She continued performing locally throughout middle and high school where her love for music grew. She went on to study musical theater at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, and while attending, she performed in roles such as Nell and Ain't Misbehaving, Ethel Toffelmeyer and Music Man, Dolores and Babes in Arms, and Sweeney Todd. Not only did she graduate with a BM in musical theater, she also placed in the Nats competition for musical theater singers. Dwan continues to perfect her craft and following her dream of performing on the big stage. Recent credits include Lena Younger and A Raisin in the Sun at Roxy Regional Theater, Motormouth Maybelle in Hairspray, Mrs. O'Neill in Sunshine Boys, Emma in Funny Girl, Sylvia in All Shook Up, Lady from the Road in Blues in the Night, the Apollo performer in the Buddy Holly Story, BJ in Smokey Joe's Cafe. She's gone on to tour in The Miracle on 34th Street and Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad as Miss Ross. Dwan would like to give special thanks to her family and friends for their love and support.
Hi there and hello to everybody. Welcome to the Love City Arts Podcast. I'm Andre in the Flow, and today's guest is Dwan Hayes. She's a singer, actor, mover that's based in New Jersey, and she and I have had the privilege of working on a few professional contracts throughout the East Coast. Welcome to the show, Dwan.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm really, really grateful to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I just said that you were a singer, actor, mover based in New Jersey. Sorry. What does that look like for you?
It looks great. A lot of people don't like Jersey. Well, I'm in East Orange, New Jersey, and I'm on the Bloomfield side. It's like I would say 8 minutes away from Newark, New Jersey. If you take the train, it's like 25 minutes away from New York. So I love it.
So you're able to get in really quickly to auditions and move and shake?
Yes. Because no offense, I love everybody that lives in New York, but it's too small. I need my...
Yeah, the living quarters are too cramped. You need more space to spread out.
Yes, I'm originally from North Carolina, so us country folks down in North Kakalaki, we used to the countryside and apartments or houses that have a lot of space. So Jersey is the closest thing right now.
Yeah, yes, North Kakalaki, I hear you. So tell me a little bit about your artistry. Where are you coming alive these days on stage? I know that you recently did A Raisin in the Sun. Tell us about that.
Well, that was kind of an amazing experience because that was I'm more of a musician, more of a singer. So that was actually my third professional play. And for me to do something like that, as far as being a co-lead, because I played Lena Younger, which was the grandmother in the show. It was a very challenging role. And that was an amazing experience in itself. So as far as me doing musicals, I tend to like to do like Motown-y. I love doing Hairspray. I think that is like one of my favorite roles because I've done Hairspray, I think, about 4 times already. I'm about to do Buddy Holly, and that will be my 3rd time doing it. Before Hairspray, I did.
You were Motormouth, right? You were Motormouth.
Yeah, Motormouth Maybell.
What was it like playing that role?
Oh God, it was amazing to put on that blonde wig and act all motherly and sexy and hippie and all that. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 2 powerful songs.
And you were saying before Hairspray, you were going to tell us about what you were doing before that.
Before Hairspray, I took a break because Hairspray was like literally a tour, like a mini tour, because we did it from California to New Jersey, at Beach Haven, New Jersey. I took a little break, and then before that, I did Miracle on 34th Street. I did a little national tour of that. And then before that, I did Funny Girl, and I played Emma, which was Barbara Streisand, Fanny Bryce's assistant. And so I like to tend to do musical theater, sometimes contemporary, but on back, because I love old school musicals. I mean,
the classics.
I love the classics like Fred and Ginger, Gene Kelly, Jerry Herman, Mame and all of them. For me to even do, like I did Show Tune one time up here in New Jersey, and it was like a collage of Jerry Herman Show Tune songs. And that was a great experience for me because when I went to school for musical theater, it was, we was drilled to do mostly like operetta and golden age musical theater. We never really tackled on a lot of contemporary musical theater,
Is that when you fell in love with musical theater? Was it in college or was it earlier than that?
Oh, no, it was earlier than that. I think it was, I fell in love with music, period. It started when I was little, when I fell in love with, I think every person, every black person would fall in love with the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson.
Yes.
But it kind of escalated when I was in high school because of my parents, especially my father, because he would always have these albums. The albums of Parliament Funkadelic and Stevie Wonder. And so when I would do my homework, I would just put on those albums and I would just start listening to them. And then I would just say to myself, well, from the 60s and 70s, what was the music that these musicians would listen to? So then I just started to do the research and listen to all these big band music like Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, Billie Holiday, and and Duke Ellington. And I just got so fascinated with all these musicians. And that's when I was in high school. And when you're in high school, you're junior and senior year, that's when you got to figure out what you're going to do when you go to college. So I said to myself, I don't know what I'm going to do, but what if I go to college? What would I love to do, for the rest of my life? And I remember literally coming home one day and turning on the TV to Turner Classic Movies, because I would watch that all the time. I was not that kind of kid that would watch HBO, BET, VH1, MTV.
A bit of an old soul, yeah? Like watching Turner Classics.
Yeah, the black and white movies and AMC and all that. I turned it on and I watched this Fred and Ginger musical. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do musicals because I love singing and dancing. And I said to my parents, I want to go to school for music because I love singing. And
that's amazing.
And then and then it was like, well, okay. And then when I went to school the next day, I was in music and I was in choir. And I said to my teacher, I want to go to school for music. And he said, no, you're not good enough. And I was always that type of person where when a person would say no to me, I would always say, why? Why wasn't I good enough? And
wait. So the professor or the teacher said you can't do music because you're not good enough?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're dealing with the South, mind you.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing, because I'm thankful for my family and I'm thankful for my parents because my father, he's from originally New Jersey. So, because up in New Jersey and up in New York, you have all these concentrated schools where they have all these art schools. Down south, you don't really have that. You
Right.
don't really have that. So, when a person says no, I was taught to question why, or there was never a can't. And there was, and the way my family was, they always said to me, there was never a dumb question.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You can always ask the question. Yeah, I was always that person to ask the question, because if I did not know the question, and if that person did not know the answer to the question, then hey,
Yeah. So this teacher says to you that you can't do it. That gives you the inspiration and this kind of like extra push to go, like, you don't get to tell me what I can and cannot do. Let's investigate this and see actually what's possible for me.
Yeah, let's extrapolate the situation. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So you're in school, you complete your degree. Where was it?
University of North Carolina at Pembroke.
Awesome. And then you're out into the world beyond that, doing musical theater professionally, which is amazing. How does love come through your artistry on stage?
Oh, wow.
Because I just seen some photos today on the good old Facebook of you playing Lena in that show. And I mean, I'm seeing everything from full-blown tears to smiles to comforting. I think you slapped somebody in one of the things in one of the photos. It looked like you did. There's so much love emanating out of you in your photos. Like, where does that come from?
I think... these posted last night, and I was showing these to my grandparents. I knew, like, when I was doing this show, it was a great sense of responsibility, because first it was in February, and you're representing, first it was Black History Month.
Yes.
I thought of that first. But then you're standing on the shoulders of people that were before you doing this show, like Sidney Poitier, Ruby Dee, and I took that, and I said, okay, yes, you have those people, but you have to incorporate yourself, and then, as an actor. Because, for one, I was like, I'm a musician. I do musicals. Woo, woo, woo. This is going to be challenging. And I said to myself, the third day I wanted to quit, because I was like, this is a lot. This is intensity. I mean, like, because I had to go back to the basics of acting, like, Stanislavski and Stella Adler, like, because I think I had about 8 monologues, because when you have people that have never been an actor, like, you got to learn. I had a stage manager that would tell me, you have to learn your lines, and I'm looking at that stage manager, I was like, I know my lines, but what is the purpose of me saying these lines? What is the given circumstance? I have to have an emotion to say these lines. I have to tap into that.
And what did you ultimately tap into?
Well, I had a lot of it had to do with my family. To go into my family's shoes and think about, like, what my grandparents went through, because when you think about it, this Raisin and Son was based in the 1950s. When my grandparents were just, starting out, that was when my father was born, and this is 1960. So you're just talking about 10 years. So thinking about how my grandparents was living and how they raised my father, my aunt, and my uncle, and in New Jersey, and living in the projects, and then moving into a house, whereas back in that time, East Orange, New Jersey, on North Arlington Avenue, was basically, we were like the second Black people to live on North Arlington Avenue, and everybody else was white. Thinking of that, it was like very intense. And then sitting down and talking to my grandmother about how things were back in her time, incorporating that, and then thinking about things that are happening now in today, yes. And then, like, when I was rehearsing the second week, which is almost like tech week, and then finally delving into your emotions and the given circumstance, I remember seeing some of the actors that was acting with me, and they was like, oh, she's that kind of actor, because that's when I tapped into it.
Yeah, things started to kind of open up for you.
Yeah, and then the lines just came flowing out, and they was like, okay, yeah, we got a show. And I remember the director saying, because, what's the saying, black don't crack, and I still look young for me to play the grandmother. And the director literally said, a few people were kind of worried because when I told them I was the mother, they just looked at me like, you're playing the mother? You kind of look young. But, makeup and, dyeing your hair a little gray, and then, the presence and the acting and everything.
Yeah, the photos looked amazing. I mean, you literally transformed. It was very awesome to see. Now, you said earlier that there was a point, and I want to break this out for the listeners. There was a point in the journey where you really, really wanted to give up and quit. What did you say to yourself? How did you talk to yourself? Or I know that you leaned on family and friends and things like that, but like, what was your process in actually digging yourself out of this I want to quit space?
I called my mom. And I said to her, I was like, I can't do this. I think I should quit. And my mom, you know how every parent has that trigger point, to every child that says, your full name. My mom was like, now Dwan Christy Hayes.
Okay.
You've been acting all your life. Put it in, but I understand you are a singer and, musicals are your comfort zone. Put it into a rhyme and everything like that. And knowing me, it's not, it didn't trigger because, it's like, this ain't going to work. And I said, and she was like, but it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You were meant to do this role for a reason. At this time, at this moment, you were meant to do this role for a reason. And after she hung up with me, I literally prayed. I prayed to everybody that's gone. And I always do this before a show, and you know this because you see me do this.
Yes.
And I prayed to my great grand, and I said, you got to help me get through this. And after that, it kind of worked itself out.
Wow. You're talking about praying to the ancestors, like asking for that extra little push.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. In addition to your musicals and all of your amazing talent that you have, what other activities in life outside of music are the things that make you come alive?
Well, I do mentor a lot. I will say that. I do try to mentor to the next generation because I do. When they talk about like the generation before us is the lost generation, this new generation is the millennials. I do believe they are the generation. Some of them are good, but we've had this conversation a lot of times where I don't think they're prepared. I don't think that they need guidance. I remember when I was down there in Tennessee, in like some of the one of our castmates goes to Austin P, and he brought his friend over, and he was auditioning for SETC. And some of my castmates
could you not to pause you, but could you explain to our listeners what SETC is for those who may not know?
Yes, it's a Southeastern Theater Conference, and what you do is like you register for this, and it's 30 theater companies that meet up in one place. And you do 90 seconds of a song and a monologue, and they basically ask you if they're interested in you, you come back, and they call you back for like a movement, and then they call you back, and they see if they can hire you for their summer or their fall season.
Upcoming season. Okay, cool. So thank you. So you're with this kid, and we're not that far removed from kids, by the way, in our age, but you're with someone younger, and they're talking about
Yeah.
they're talking about going. Like, I'm not going to play us on this podcast now.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
yeah.
when we talk about children, we don't get me wrong. You when between the ages, I would say between the ages of 18 and 24, there is a maturity level, and when your maturity level is is not there, I do tend to say children.
Children. So yeah. So this quote unquote child is sitting at the kitchen table. Where are you? And
Yeah, we're like in the living room, and
okay.
it's like any other person that's in college. You want guidance. You are there to ask questions, but I won't say he's a child, but he is a young man that he's not going to ask questions like up front because he's still being a man, but he's like there to like asking for guidance from professionals that are working professionally. I understood what he was doing, but
Right.
you have my young castmates that didn't see that. And he was talking about SCTC, and nobody was giving him any guidance. And
Yeah.
I said, well, what song are you singing? I didn't know what the song was, but then I asked him, like, okay, what style is it? And when he asked me when he told me what style it was, and I said, well, okay, you know what the theater companies are? Did you do your research on the theater companies? And he said, well, what do you mean by research? And I said, go to that theater's site and look at the season. That season will determine what song you're going to sing, because it's almost like acting one-on-one. You got to treat the audience like they're dumb, just like those casting directors, because if 10 theater companies is going to do, like, say, for instance, The Wiz, Smokey Joe's Cafe, and, all these, like, review shows that are, like, based in the 50s and 60s, you're going to want to do a pop or a, like, Motown-y song, right?
Yeah,
That's what you want to do so you can get hired. He didn't look at it that way. He was like, oh, wow, I'm sorry. And I was like, and then another thing, your audition doesn't stop with those 90 seconds. It also, you are auditioning every day while you are at that conference, because those casting directors are at the bar and everything like that. Now, if you're going to go to the bar and network, that's another thing. You have to network. You have to talk to these people, because you could probably get hired from just talking to those people.
Right. I've seen you do this. I saw you do this in Pennsylvania. You've done it with me on phone calls. I mean, you're really passionate about sharing knowledge. And I think that is a gift that you have, because what good is it for us to have all of these gifts and information and tools, in our belt and not be able to pass it on? I think that's wonderful about you. In addition to mentorship, is there anything else? Is there like a favorite food, or how do you come alive? Like, is there a dish that sets you on fire?
A dish? A food dish? I love lasagna.
Okay.
My favorite food, I would have to say Asian cuisine.
Okay. Okay. That's like a go-to for you?
Yeah, love Japanese sushi and Thai tea.
Okay, all right. That's very cultured of you, Miss Hayes. Very cultured of you. What do you feel that your life mission is?
Life mission?
Pivot a little bit from Asian food, Asian cuisine to life mission. That's a jump, but.
Well, my life mission literally is to, be happy, to have a career, and to have a life with, the typical, marriage and kids.
Yeah,
and
yeah. You're a family person.
Mhm.
Now, you said that earlier that your family really lifted you up when you wanted to quit Raisin in the Sun, and I know your family, and they're so much of a strong support system for you. Can you tell us, if you wish, about a time when you didn't feel loved, or and how you overcame that?
One time when I didn't feel loved and was when that's a good one. It was more of a misunderstanding, but at that time it really did feel that I didn't feel loved. Was when someone that was not family standing up for my mom, when me and my, how a mom and daughter, a love between, I will say this, a love between mom and a daughter is very weird.
Oh.
Because it's a love-hate relationship, but you will love your mom endlessly.
Yeah.
Your mom will love her children endlessly. But we could fight and argue over a kitchen set, but nobody else would get it. So, like if somebody else outside the family will fight with. If somebody else outside the family fought with me over what I was fighting with my mom about, and I respectfully said, with all due respect, it is none of your business.
Yeah.
And when your mom says, stop, be quiet and everything, and is talking to you like a child and you're an adult, what can you do? And it's almost like saying, you are defending the other person and not defending your child.
So that miscommunication created a feeling of like a lack of love for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like when it's an argument between the family, you get it, but when it's an argument outside the family and it's another person that is trying to argue or break a rift between a mother and daughter, and when it's an adult attacking another adult, it's like your mom is not letting you be the adult kind of thing. Because it's a thing of, Mom, I love you, but this is not your daughter right now. This is an adult talking to another adult, because if this adult is coming at me, then I need to handle it. But
yeah, you wanted to fight your own battle.
Right.
And so how did this resolve for you? Like, how did you overcome it?
It took a long time because for me, I have a temper, and it comes from my father. My father has a temper, and what we tend to do is like, when we don't understand anything, certain things, and it's like, we just like back off a little bit, because for one, that is my mom. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I just won't say nothing.
Right.
But then I have the luxury of having two parents. And so I went to my father and I was like, I don't understand what happened, So, I think for that incident, it took me 2 weeks to actually calm down and actually tell her how I felt. And then Mom, Dad was the mediator. Mom went to Dad, and Dad had to explain to her. And then she had to say, I'm sorry, it was miscommunication. But because parents still see us as 4, 6 year children running around asking them for help. And it's hard to let us go as adults.
I think you said something very, very powerful there too, with you reaching out to your father as mediator. Sometimes it's important for us, no matter what we're going through in life, whether it's an interpersonal rift or anything, you have to be willing to ask for help. You have to be willing to ask for someone. So when you reached out to your dad and you said, hey, like, this is really upsetting me. What's going on here? Am I not seeing clearly? Maybe my mom is right. Maybe I'm right. Like, what's going on here? You opened yourself up to resolution. You opened yourself up to a new solution to emerge, and for you to get the help that you wanted to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really important. I think that sometimes we want to like handle things on our own. We want to, march into the burning building and put out the fire by ourselves and give people a piece of our minds. But I think that asking for help sometimes is the most courageous thing that you can do. Okay, so what's coming up next for you in your art?
Well, I'm doing Buddy Holly, and that is at Harrah's Casino in Atlantic City. Usually I work with Surflight Theater in Beach Haven, New Jersey. So nothing is set yet, but I always love working with them, and so they are like my theater family. To tell you the truth, I've worked with them for 5 years. So
I love that. And where can people find out more information about your art?
They can look on my website, www.dwanhayes, DwanHayes.com.
www.dwanhayes.com. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's been wonderful talking to you as always. And I always end the episode with a couple of fill in the blanks. So your fill in the blanks today are joy is.
Oh, Lord. Joy is music, art.
Yeah. And then one more. Freedom is.
Expressing yourself as much as you can.
Well, I've seen you express yourself in awesome ways, and you've expressed yourself wonderfully today. So thank you again for being here, Dwan.
Thank you. See you later, sweetie.
Take care.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, I want to invite you to like, share, comment, and tweet about this episode. Your comments help me to make this podcast the best that it can be and continue to share the love. Don't forget to pass this episode on to someone that you may know that might need an extra pick-me-up as well. Also, feel free to visit lovecityarts.org. We've got more episodes, monthly giveaways, upcoming in-person events, uplifting blogs, and a book club on the way. Love City exists to uplift artists, the ones that love them, and the inner creative genius in us all. Thanks so much for listening, and stay tuned for another uplifting episode from the Love City Arts Podcast.